Our lead from the pigskin world here and the Philly fallout. We're calling it the Philly fallout. Philadelphia disemboweled by San Francisco in the game over the weekend. And you've got the story within the story here. It's not so much about the game itself, domination situation, a second-round knockout for the 49ers against the Eagles. But this is about the Eagles' security goon. Now, Nick Sirianni addressed the Komodo dragon in the room. The Eagles head coach, Nick Sirianni, addressing the sideline kerfluffle heard round the football world. The Birds security czar, Dom DeSandro, and 49er linebacker Dre Greenlaw got into it. They got into a dust-up. And so the day after, Nick Sirianni was asked about this. And Sirianni, do you think he, A, trashed his security guy saying, "What are you doing, you dum-dum"? B, gave a no comment, or C, defended the security guy? The answer? That would be C. The answer is C. As Nick Sirianni defending his right-hand man, his muscle, his bouncer, saying that Sirianni, did not believe that DeSandro intended to escalate the situation. He said, quote, "Dom is as good as they get in the business." Now, how does Nick Sirianni know all of the head of security around the NFL? I'm asking for a friend. Quote continues. Nick Sirianni said, "I am so thankful for him. He is always going to try to defuse situations. That's what he does," Sirianni said. "That's his job." Obviously, unfortunate yesterday. Sirianni said, "I know in Dom's heart he truly was trying to defuse the situation right there. I am sad it came to what it came to and that anybody got thrown out of the game." All right, close quote. So let us discuss the question. Nick Sirianni saying that the security goon of the Philadelphia football team tried to defuse the hostilities on the sidelines. Does that make sense to you? All right, so I've got gaslight, sandbag, and ballot box. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make a pair of crutches, which is what Trevor Lawrence needed as he was knocked out of that Monday night game. But number one. So to answer the question, does it make sense to you what Nick Sirianni said? It makes sense only from the standpoint that Nick Sirianni has skin in the game. He's looking out for his guy. He's running interference, the naked bootleg, if you will, the tushy-pushy, whatever works. He's looking out for one of his confidants is what he's doing. And the media, evil media, running away with this story here. But this guy, Sirianni, loves Dom, the security guy. And so he's befuddled by all these negative stories. But here's the problem. Anyone who actually watched, even our friend Inca Terror, watched this, okay? You look at what happened here, the events that took place on Sunday, and Sirianni is running a sandwich shop. He's serving up only bologna hoagies. If you would like a hoagie, it's only bologna with Nick Sirianni. This is what's known as a gaslight special. It is a gaslight special. Nick Sirianni is gaslighting the Eagle fan base, and in many respects, the media, deliberately, strategically feeding fans and the media alike information that will lead them to question what they know is reality. For example, Big Dom was actually pouring kerosene on top of a smoldering rubble, a pile of rubble, not water. However, according to the Eagles coach, that's not how it played out. Who goofed? I've got to know. Now, turning the page. Staying in Philly, the Birds lit up the transaction wire. Now, we don't normally talk about defensive players because we find them offensive. We only worry about offensive players. But there was a name player that we've heard of that changed teams, and Philadelphia and Dallas were trying to get their hands on linebacker Shaq Leonard. He was fired by the Indianapolis football team, and so Shaq Leonard decided to go to Philadelphia. He was released a couple weeks ago, which is a nice way of saying you were demoted. You were fired, demerit. So did Shaq Leonard make the right choice by picking the Eagles over the Cowboys? And I'm nodding my head yes, and this goes back to the game on Sunday. The Dallas Cowboys, now they have their own defensive issues. They got torched by Geno Smith, who's pretty bad, right? Geno Smith, fringe, should be a backup, should not be a starter in the NFL. Any good team will not have Geno Smith as their starter. But that aside, right? Dallas got lit up by Geno Smith, but the Eagles got absolutely pantsed by the 49ers in the game on Sunday. So they need all hands on deck, and Shaq Leonard at one point was a good player, and he's like a sandbag in this story. He's like a sandbag. There's a lot of water. The floodwaters are rising. You need to put the sandbags down to try to keep the water at bay. And in the case of Shaq Leonard and the Eagles, the defense has been flooded. Now, they did have some guys out against the 49ers, and my friends in Philadelphia said, don't worry, Ben, everything will be fine. The Birds are getting their guys back. They'll be fine. Okay. We'll see about that. But Leonard adds depth, but is it actually good depth? He picked the right team because Philadelphia needs more help than Dallas does defensively, but the issue is how much help. Because those that pay close attention to the almighty tape, they say, this guy's washed up. That Shaq Leonard, that's why the Colts got rid of him. You don't get rid of all pro-level players unless they can no longer play. And so while he's a sandbag, Shaquille Leonard, he's not a big, powerful sandbag at this point. It's more name than game. Right? And he's in that category until proven. Otherwise, the scouts say that he's done. He had a back injury that he suffered in 2021, and he's had a couple other medical procedures since then, so it's starting to pile up. Now, final point. We head to L.A., and yet again, for the second time this young NFL season, which is not that young anymore, for the second time this season, Sean McVay being called out for late-game coaching strategy. Now, you might remember earlier this season, McVay decided to kick a field goal in a game that was already decided, and it only affected the point spread in a game against the 49ers. Now, the game against the Cleveland Browns on Sunday, McVay once again did something out of the orthodoxy of football. So let me set this up. Coming out of 2-minute warning, the Rams were nursing an 8-point lead over the Cleveland football team. The Rams had a 2nd and goal to go from the Browns' 1-yard line. 2nd and goal to go from the Browns' 1-yard line. Sean McVay decided, rather than just take the ball a couple of times without any timeouts, the Cleveland did not have timeouts. So the thought was the Rams would just snap the ball a couple of times, take a knee, kneel twice, kick a field goal, and there would be maybe a couple of seconds left. Maybe a couple of seconds left. But instead, McVay decided, you know what, I want to get a touchdown. And Kyron Williams ended up scoring a touchdown. He walked into the end zone unabated, and the Rams ended up getting a 34-19 win in that game. Now, asked about the decision after the game, Sean McVay said that he opted to hand the ball to Williams because he was on his fantasy football team. Then he immediately screamed, I'm just kidding. So what is your reaction to people getting all offended because Sean McVay went for the touchdown at the end of the Rams-Browns game and did not use the proper football decorum and take a couple of knees? So what is your reaction to McVay's late-game strategy? I have no idea why people are so worked up over this. They must not know the Rams. The Rams have major issues in the kicking game, right? Major issues in the kicking game. So the way I look at this was a trip to the ballot box, and Sean McVay voted no confidence in the Rams special teams unit, which is interesting because the game against the 49ers, the argument for him kicking the field goal was, well, we wanted our special teams unit to get some more work. But they still stink. They've changed kickers, the Rams. They should change kickers again because the guy they brought in stinks. And so they're going to go through another kicker. But that's McVay's way of saying, hey, I have no confidence in the kicking game. I would much rather try to score a touchdown because knowing the way this goes, we'll get that field goal blocked. It'll be returned for a touchdown. Then we'll be at the mercy of a Joe Flacco 2-point conversion. The Rams have a turnstile of idiot kickers.